Greetings, system failure listeners. Nate here with your weekly essay read, this one entitled Money for Nothing, and subtitled How the Alchemical Dream Actually Came True. Key takeaways. Number 1, English bankers actually achieved the alchemical dream of creating gold during the 17th century. Number 2, science is the primary source of the economic growth that historically fueled capitalism. Number 3, the biography of Sir Isaac Newton illustrates how alchemy, science, finance, and capitalism evolved in concert. The alchemical dream. In addition to his monumental contributions to the scientific revolution, Sir Isaac Newton was a devoted alchemist. He wrote more on alchemy than on physics and mathematics combined. Today, we look back on his voluminous alchemical works as a quaint though misguided side quest. But what if alchemists actually succeeded in their legendary pursuit of creating gold? In 17th century England, people stored their gold with goldsmiths because they had the heavy vaults needed to keep it safe. The goldsmiths would issue receipts for these deposits, which worked like claim checks for specific amounts of gold. People quickly realized that trading these goldsmiths' receipts was far more convenient and safe than carrying around heavy gold coins. If they needed to pay anyone, they could just hand over a goldsmith's note. Those receipts began to circulate as an early form of paper money. For their part, the goldsmiths soon noticed that only a small fraction of depositors ever actually redeemed their notes for any physical gold. Most paper receipts just kept circulating as currency without ever being redeemed. So, the goldsmiths began loaning out the idle gold sitting in their vaults by issuing even more receipts. From that point forward, there were more claim checks in circulation than actual gold in vaults. Fractional reserve banking was born. English goldsmiths realized they could fulfill the alchemical dream of creating gold not through the classic trope of transmuting baser metals, but by lending paper worth multiples of their real deposits with a clever double-entry accounting trick. The Medici banking family of Florence, who famously dabbled in alchemy, popularized double-entry accounting in the 15th century. It remains the gold standard in financial reporting to this day. When banks create money, they use this form of accounting to record it. When a normal financial entity makes a loan, its books reflect a swap between a cash asset and an accounts receivable asset. But when banks loan money, they instead book a liability against an accounts receivable asset. This liability is the new deposit that appears in the borrower's account. It's new money. The borrower is free to spend it, and it was conjured up out of thin air. The accounting reflects how non-banks are intermediaries that move existing assets around when they lend. And by contrast, how banks create new money when they lend by recording a liability, a deposit, against a newly created asset, a loan. This unique privilege is the foundation of the modern fractional reserve banking system. The alchemical dream of making gold remains alive and well. Science as seed corn. A common critique of the fractional reserve banking system is that it requires constant economic growth. According to this heterodox argument, every loan creates new money for the principal, but not the additional money needed to pay its interest. Economies using this system must constantly expand by creating even more loans to service the ever-increasing total debt. For the past 3 centuries, science has been a significant source of that economic expansion. Some scientific discoveries were directly deployed into the market as labor-saving technologies, such as in the textile mills that epitomized the Industrial Revolution in England. Other discoveries, like the advanced navigation techniques and instruments that led to the discovery of 2 new continents, opened up new markets indirectly. In both cases, technological progress born from science furnished banks with a steady stream of new loan customers. In Isaac Newton's day, entrepreneurs were beginning to bring scientific innovation to market by securing loans from banks and hiring workers to carry out production. Versions of this economic structure of banks, scientists, employers, and employees are today commonly referred to as capitalism. And for the past few centuries, science has been its primary seed corn. Finance. The life of Sir Isaac Newton vividly illustrates how alchemy, science, finance, and capitalism evolved together as the Industrial Revolution dawned. His multiple landmark contributions to the scientific revolution are legendary, though his substantial corpus of alchemical writings remains less well known. In 1771, Joseph Wright of Derby painted The Alchemist Discovering Phosphorus. His work serves as the title card for this essay. It portrays the deep relationship between alchemy and modern sciences like chemistry. The bankers of 17th century England were not alchemists, but their fulfillment of the alchemical dream by creating money from nothing was deeply indebted to science. Newton's calculus is the mathematics of rates of change. Its ability to compare changes in spatial dimensions, measured by rulers, and in the temporal dimension, measured by stopwatches, makes calculus the quintessential method of computation in modern physics. Finance is another realm in which calculus is indispensable. Perhaps this explains Newton's fascination with money, which propelled him on a 28-year career as Master of the Royal Mint. Instead of changes in physical dimensions across time, finance concerns itself with money across time. Payments over time form the debt relationships that are the fundamental tissue of our modern economy. Alchemists like Isaac Newton sought to create gold. The goldsmiths who succeeded in doing so accomplished that feat by inventing fractional reserve banking, a powerful engine that still promotes rapid economic growth to this day. Conclusion. English goldsmiths discovered that gold need not be forged in the alchemical fires of a crucible. It could instead be created on the pages of a ledger. They generated money from nothing with the clever magic of fractional reserve banking and legitimized the practice with double-entry accounting. In so doing, they unleashed the most powerful engine for economic growth the world has ever seen, and the scientific revolution, also influenced by alchemy, provided the seed cord needed to feed that engine for the past 3 centuries. Alrighty, folks. Well, that is it for this week's essay read. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I encourage you to point your browser window to systemfailure.org. There, you can read the the text version of these weekly essays, and the text version, of course, includes the picture, the title card picture mentioned in the essay, and it also includes a further material section, which this week includes a quote from the late great David Graeber. You can enter your email in at systemfailure.org to receive these emails, newsletters directly in your inbox each and every Sunday morning. That way you won't have to worry about missing one. Furthermore, if you'd like to get in contact with me or with Brian, you can accomplish that over on the About page at systemfailure.org. Alrighty, folks. Well, I will be back on Monday with a regularly scheduled edition of the System Failure Podcast with Brian. Can't wait to talk to you all then. Hope you're having a great week.